to overtime. Dwayne Wade right at the body of Anderson Varejao. Welcome to your Kodak moment, Anderson Varejao.
Doncic pulls up, three-pointer. Bang! Bang! It's good! Doncic wins the game at the buzzer!
All right, let's talk some NFL, should we? We got a lot of storylines. I'm not going to talk about every game, but the games that I do want to talk about are, I want to talk about the Vikings rebuild, Bears against, the Bears being fakers against the Rams, Cardinals, Hawks, Lions, Falcons, and then let's talk about a few other storylines around the league. Let's start out with the Vikings rebuild. It's looking like there's going to be some issues there. Of course, they traded Yannick Ngakoue for a third and a fifth after trading a second and a fifth for him. Good on them for realizing that they were just kind of screwed, but even then, it's hard to get the value back because you gave up what's probably going to be a top 42 pick for 5 games of Yannick Ngakoue, and the Ravens got a steal. But Kyle Rudolph, the tight end, could be on the way out, but apparently his value is very low. Teams are calling about Irv Smith, who was a second-round tight end 2 years ago, who's finally getting the touches he deserves. He's a very good tight end, but he's young, and the Vikings don't want to give up their young players if they're in a rebuild. Harrison Smith, one of the better safeties in the league, on a big contract though. So there's all these little issues with the Vikings wanting to give away their better players, but they're all on big contracts. Adam Thielen, would he be moved? I don't think he wants to leave Minnesota, the state he grew up in. But it's Adam Thielen. I don't think they want to give up on Adam Thielen. That being said, he would have value to a team that needs a wide receiver going into the playoffs, and the Vikings certainly won't be in the playoffs. Danielle Hunter is out for the year, is one of the better edge rushers in the league, like top 5 edge rushers in the league. He's just been out all the time, and he's out for this whole year. The reason they brought in Yannick Ngakoue is because they wanted to have those 2 edge presences with Everson Griffin leaving in free agency. It just hasn't worked out. So now, do you trade Danielle Hunter, or do you make him the highest paid edge rusher in the league? Of course, there's the franchise tag, but he absolutely will not play on the franchise tag with his health being such a question. So where do you go? I have worries about the Vikings. Riley Reif was forced to take a pay cut because no one wanted to trade for him, and he'd rather stay in Minnesota where he knows the scheme than get picked up by some random team. There's not a lot going well for the Vikings right now. That being said, Justin Jefferson is, somehow in his rookie year already a top 10 wide receiver in terms of yardage, in terms of touches, in terms of touchdowns. The issue is Kirk Cousins is not very good. And I've seen a lot of Vikings Twitter talking about, all right, it's time to trade off everyone. Send Kirk Cousins to the 49ers because Shanahan apparently loves him. I just don't think the 49ers want that contract. Especially considering they have an out with Garoppolo after this year if they really want a new quarterback. And Kirk Cousins' contract is fully guaranteed for the next 3 years. That extension just doesn't make sense now. So where do you go from here if you're the Vikings? I mean, would you trade away for players for depreciated value? Kyle Rudolph, I'm not sure what the value is for him, but there just aren't that many good teams that really need a tight end. Maybe the Packers get him, but I doubt the Vikings want to trade to an in-division rival, and not just an in-division rival, but like their number 1 rival. Like I don't think they want to do that. I mean, I know it hurt Packers fans when they had to see Brett Favre in a Vikings jersey, but it's also going to hurt Vikings fans if they have to see. It nearly hurt Vikings fans when they nearly had to see Randy Moss in a Packers jersey, and now it would destroy Vikings fan if they had to see Kyle Rudolph, or even worse, Adam Thielen in a Packers jersey. that's my issue with it. I just don't think the Vikings have many paths to rebuild. Before we move on, I am going to say, because we have some listeners, to call in, it's 802-440-4668. Got any sports questions, just call them in. Why not? Let's have a conversation. Always down for a sports-based conversation.